How you doing today, folks? Behind me are some, these are called Gold Mop Chamaecyparis. Chamaecyparis, pisifera, Filifera, Aurea. And the only reason I remember that is because it's just kind of fun to say. I had a job in Oxford, Connecticut about a month ago where my clients didn't want these shrubs. We were going to move them around the yard somewhere and there just didn't really seem to be a good spot. So Gold Mop Chamaecyparis are one of my like top 10 favorite shrubs. I use them quite often and I thought I'd just go ahead and bring them home and find a nice home for them in the yard. So what we're going to do today, folks, and I'm not really sure where exactly this video is going to end up. But I'm going to show you the process of planting this one on the right, this one Chamaecyparis on the right. And I've already dug up. Let me take the camera off the tripod. So if you take a look at this Chamaecyparis, it's about, I'm going to say if I was at a nursery, they would call that an 8 to 10. That would probably just be labeled like a 10-foot specimen. But it's a beautiful, beautiful shrub. And the reason you see that piece of tape there is whenever I dig shrubs that I'm gonna plant, or if I'm going to the nursery, if it's something really large, I don't want to have to move this shrub once I put it in the hole. So I always put the tag on so I know what the good side is, and I always face the good side to where people are going to see it the most. As you take a look at the roots though, the ball here, this is what's known as barrel tying, and I can't say I'm an expert at it. These are pretty loose, especially after the drive home. But what I did is, after I dug it out, I brought it out of the hole, laid it on some burlap, and then I brought the burlap around the sides, and you wrap one piece of twine around the outside of the ball. There's another piece of twine around the bottom here. And then you go up and down and up and down and up and down, and you cinch these tighter. Now I really should have used a much thicker twine. I ended up doubling up what I had, and I definitely should have put more tension, but I really wanted to just get these guys home. This was, you know, I wasn't getting paid to make sure these trees survive. I just wanted to get them home at my place. And if you take a look at the balls, you know, I dug a nice generous ball. And I'm going to say this ball is easily 36 inches in diameter, maybe 42. So that's where we are. Now I've had these sitting here, and what I've been doing is leaving a trickle of the hose. You can see the hose here. I've been leaving the hose on a trickle for like 3/4 of a day, you know, 16 hours, even a day sometimes, and just let that trickle in. You don't want to water big balls like this quickly. You want to trickle that water in so it soaks in. Now if I was going to leave these trees longer or wait till later in the fall to plant them, if you take a look, you can barely see there's a pile of mulch back there. What you do is, it's called heeling the plant in. So you would take this ball and just surround it with that mulch, and that would mimic like the plant was in the shrub. It would slow down water loss. And I promise you that if I had healed this shrub in, it would be doing infinitely better. It's doing pretty good now, but you'd actually start to see some roots coming out of the burlap here. So what you're looking at, these two shrubs, I use the machine to dig them out. There's no way I could lift them myself, but you're probably looking at about, between digging them out and getting them home, I'm going to say you're looking at about 12 to 15 hours worth of work between traveling all that to get to where we are here. So we want to do everything we can to make sure that, that these shrubs survive and do all right. Right over here is where we're going to be putting our Gold Mop Chamaecyparis. This is a STYRAX, and it was really beautiful up until about 3 or 4 years ago, and then it got borers, and it's starting to regrow, but I figure we've got such a beautiful Gold Mop Chamaecyparis that rather than having this kind of suckery looking shrub, we'll just go ahead and plant the Gold Mop. I did get a seedling from the STYRAX, which I planted in the backyard, so I still do have the STYRAX to enjoy, and there's a boatload. One thing you should know about STYRAX japonicus is they self-seed like crazy. So if you've got one in a mulched bed and you do a lot of regular weeding, no problem. But if you don't weed around a STYRAX that blooms, by late summer, early spring the next year, it's going to be loaded with seedlings. And I just want to show you, this is my Cornelian cherry over here. But if you take a look underneath there, those are all actually STYRAX seedlings. And I mean, this tree I cut down, I cut it back about 2 years ago, so they're pretty aggressive seeders. The first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and cut the stump down to the ground. If I were going to dig this by hand, I always cut things up high so I can rock it with my hands or attach a chain to a truck or something. But I'm going to be using a backhoe, so when we're digging with a backhoe, we don't want to be bumping into the stump. So I'm just going to go ahead and take my old school bow saw and cut this guy back. I have a chainsaw, but sometimes it's just easier to just grab a bow saw, even if it takes a minute or two longer than to, I'd have to walk to the shed, get the saw, all that stuff. Feel the burn, baby.